Here we are right back again. This is Legacy of Leaders. I'm your host, Jamar Suber. And as you know, I talk to amazing entrepreneurs who push us to go higher. And today I'm with Jason Shepard of Coastal Wildlife and Pest Services. Welcome to the show.
That's right. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. So I've told you about the gators. I've told you about the otters in my backyard, the foxes that have been in my backyard. We should have called you.
Yeah.
Tell us about your business, Jason.
Yes, so we're a locally owned and operated nuisance wildlife and pest control company right here in Northeast Florida, covering from Fernandina Beach to the Georgia line down to Ormond Beach, Flagler County area. We do everything from your general pest control, ants, roaches, and spiders, to trapping snakes and coming out to your house at 3 a.m. when you got something crazy going on in the attic. We do all of it.
Yeah, I need your card, believe me. So why this business? Pests can be scary. You know, some of these wild, they're scary.
Yeah.
Why this business?
So that was something that, I got started in this. I was in the construction field for, several years, and I just wanted to do something different. And I ended up in this industry, and I fell in love with this, like the challenge and what you get to do in solving people's problems. Mm-hmm. Many times when we're going out to a property, homeowners are like you. They don't know what to do, and so they have this stuff going on. They've probably tried to call their pest control company, and their pest control company is like, that's a little bit out of our scope. Yes. And so they're a little bit freaked out, and so we get to come in and help them solve that problem, and in a sense kind of be the hero for those homeowners, and that's really the reward you get from that. Is much more valuable than any profit, and the relationships that we're able to build through the service that we provide is extremely incredible and extremely valuable.
Yeah, your business is definitely one that's needed. Are you ever afraid when you go to somebody? I know this is a very stupid question, but are you ever afraid when you go to some of these properties?
Yeah, so in the beginning I was. There was, you get into something for the first time and you have those like, this is the first time, so you got like the first time I ever get a cottonmouth off of a pool deck, and it was a giant one, and that was, but I'm supposed to be a professional, so I had to hold my composure together and just go do my job.
Right.
But after you do it so much, getting baby raccoons out of an attic when the mom's trying to come and get you because you're taking her babies, it's never boring. I can say it's never boring. You always, you never know what a day is going to bring doing what we do.
Absolutely. So, we see a lot on social media, people going after these things on their gators and all these things. But when we hear that sound in the attic at 3 a.m. or we see something on our back porch, what are some of the things that families need to keep in mind to remain safe? Yeah,
that's a really good question. So probably the most common call that we get is, I heard something scratching in my attic last night. And so we tell people, if you've owned a home for any amount of time, you're going to hear noises, right? You hear these creaks and rattles and whatever. And sometimes you're like, man, was that something in the attic? But then sometimes you have those noises where you're like, no doubt, like something's up there. We got to figure out what that is. And so that's probably the most common call that we get. And through that process, when somebody calls us, we understand that there's a level of stress associated with that call. And so our first goal is to calm them down and to help them understand that this problem can be solved. A lot of times what we're scared of is really not going to happen. So you hear something scratching above your head, you think it's going to come through the ceiling. Like that's your first thought. What if that thing comes through? Most likely not going to come through. Not going to say it's never happened. I've seen it, but very, 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 it's a very low percentage problem, these guys coming through the ceiling. But usually we'll have somebody come out, do an inspection of the property, get up in the attic, get down in the crawl space, kind of identify what it is, because that's the first step to making sure we're able to get it out of there. But we need to identify what kind of animal it is, if it's an animal, and if so, we need to know what kind it is. And then from that information we gather during that initial inspection, we're able to put together a custom plan for getting these animals out, and then not only getting them out, but making sure they can never come back in through the attic space.
Yeah, that's great. I know one of the big commercial guys that we use, they didn't respond when I needed them,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a problem.
Yeah,
you know?
so one of the things that we've and it's kind of a controversial thing in our industry because it's hard to do, but we take calls 24 hours a day. Most companies don't do that.
Right.
And we've had, these other companies, bigger companies and owners of bigger companies say, you really, you shouldn't do that. It's not sustainable for your employees. But what we've noticed is because we're responsive, because we make ourselves available to our customers, people really value that. And when they have a problem on a Saturday night at 9 o'clock, they've already hired a company 3 days ago, but now they can't get in touch with them.
Yep.
They call us and we're able to come over and take care of the problem. We just had that issue not too long ago. We had to cut 3 baby raccoons out of a wall in a bathroom. They had already hired somebody earlier the week, but it was a weekend. They couldn't get a hold of them, and these raccoons were going nuts. They couldn't wait till Monday. And so they called us out. We were able to get the raccoons out of there. We were there till 3 in the morning, but we got them out.
Man, well, I want to say personally, thank you for that vision, because it's definitely needed, and these are emergency situations when we call. you know? So thank you for Coastal being the difference maker. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on to the show.
Yeah,
absolutely.
thanks.
You've just watched Legacy of Leaders. I'm your host, Jamar Suber, and to learn more about Coastal Wildlife and Pest Control Services, log on to dailynewsnetwork.com. So long.